Good morning. Thank you so much for being on this little journey with me of short podcasts centered around each Enneagram type and the concept of deep listening. I hope you've had an opportunity to really think about what that means. Again, deep listening, to allow one other person to empty their heart so they can suffer less. Wow, it's such a simple concept, but I know for myself, I've always thought, if someone's suffering, then I need to have the right words to help them suffer less. Like that's my job, to have the right words. Isn't it just ironic to think that it's the opposite? That what we really need to do is just listen and let them empty their heart. Less suffering frees us up to live more fully and to love more. And I know this is a conscious practice to become aware of my own instinctual listening because, like breathing, hearing is a natural function of our human bodies, right? Provided we're born with the ability to hear. So from day one, we just hear. But I would venture to say that not many of us were taught how to listen. Dropping the need to defend or respond immediately takes practice. I can tell you this is a truth. But just like exercising our muscles leads to healthier bodies, practicing true, deep listening leads to healthier relationships. After all, what good is having a healthy body if we have unhealthy relationships? So, as we continue learning what deep listening is truly about, let's take time to listen to our own voices and the messages that we've carried since childhood. And so you might be confused if this concept of a childhood message is new to you, because I think if I was to ask, what message about who you are has been at the core, a central idea that shaped the way you exist in the world and how you have relationships with others, you'd probably have no idea. I know I didn't. But until we begin to peel back the layers of our thought processes, most of us would have no idea that there even is such a thing. We simply think this is just how I am. And often we just think this is unique to us, that we carry this message inside of us and we keep it protected and hidden, hoping nobody else knows this is truly how we feel about ourselves. But what if there truly is an underlying message and we can choose to acknowledge it and confront it? And that's where the power of change lies, in knowing. So until we know something, we don't have the ability to question. And so knowing we have a choice to think about this, to listen to our own thoughts, and the ability to question the truth and the validity of them is what frees us from being attached to these thoughts. So I know for me personally, when I learned what my childhood message was, it blew my mind. I felt like it was just me. That part of this was my inability to what I thought was proper grieving, to grieve deeply, and that's just how I was wired. So I was ashamed. Really, I just kept this hidden and lived with this shame about I feel so inadequate when it comes to grieving. And it's not that I didn't care deeply, I just had this underlying message that made me have to protect myself from grieving too deeply. So I began to question my thoughts. Now, let me say again, this is kind of my standard disclaimer, no childhood experience is alike, and each child interprets their experiences differently, but each of us has a filter through which we understand the world around us. And it goes without saying, the way these messages manifest is unique in each life experiences. So there's just not one default. This is how all type 7s process grief. This is how all type ones handle the need to have the world more perfect, to see the world as flawed. That's not what I'm trying to say. But let's just look at type 4 today and see if you are a type 4, if this resonates with you, if you love a type 4, that you might begin to listen deeply as they share their life experience. And so if you are a type 4, I want this to sit and settle in your heart. And then question. Listen deeply to these perceived truths. So what is the childhood message for type 4? I can tell you it seems almost impossible to think of a child hearing these words. And the truth is, these exact words were most likely never spoken, but somehow the message was received that, and this is it, it's not okay to be too functional or too happy. What? Wow. What a disheartening message for any child to carry, right? Those words, they just carry such sadness. So say that out loud as if you're a child about to enter the first day of kindergarten, walking through the big doors of a new school, not yet knowing their classmates or anything about their teacher or how the teacher will react to them and the children will react to them. So say these words as a little 5-year-old. You're walking down the hall and you're thinking to yourself, well, I don't know what will happen today, but the one thing I do know is I can't be too much or too happy. Now, take a few seconds to feel that. Can you picture that? Can you see the heaviness that little child walks into a new environment with? It's heartbreaking. I'm going to repeat it. I can't do too much or be too happy. Imagine how that feels. I can't be too happy. I can't do too much. Too much, too happy, too feeling. Well, what creates this feeling of having to be less than you are? That if anyone truly knew how deeply you feel and how much you see such depth to the world around you, it would be too much for them? That you are just too much? And thus you feel so out of place. Oh, you long to be authentically you, but this message keeps popping up in your mind and you believe it. I can't be too much. They can't take all of me. So breathe in this truth. You are seen and you are loved for all that you are. You are not too much. You don't have to hide the beauty of all you offer to this world. Listen deeply to your own thoughts and begin to empty your heart of this lie so you can suffer less. And if you're talking to a 4, oh, please let them just empty their heart and let them suffer less so they can be fully who we need in this world. Oh, we need the people who know how to feel deeply. I love you, my type 4s. I love you all, and thank you so much for sharing your hearts with me. Have a wonderful day.